Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in the Last Caretaker. Now currently this is in the demo stage. It will release for early access on the 6th of November, 06 November, out for early release or early access. So definitely I am looking forward to that, and I hope as you're watching all the different videos out there for it, you are too. So we're continuing on here. This is the door going to the roof. So we're going to continue here. I closed this door at the end of the last episode because, hey, it's dark out there. It is now storming out there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go out. Bad things come at night. They mostly come at night. Sorry, aliens reference there for those of you who are actually old enough to remember that. Sorry. Had to go there. Okay, so you see a lot of things that are smoking and on fire. So we have solar panels here on this side, and we have wind turbines over here on this side. Now wind turbines are great, especially in a storm, because they really spin. Okay, but before we get there, this is kind of non-essential at the moment. But just because we're going to go ahead and take care of this, kind of neat with the chair. Having trouble here. There we go. So that takes a little bit of health on you. You saw the little health things, so that's the chair. Let's go ahead and open this door and I'll show you where this goes. This is kind of a shortcut. This is what I could not demonstrate above. You see this little foot thing here, and it says E-use. So we're going to click that. It's basically the step. It releases the ladder. So basically you cannot get there. There is no ladder until you come up here and then release it, and now you have this ladder again. Alright, so you remember this is plastic, so we're going to haul that out here. But chairs, I want chairs. So what I'm going to do is just take these and drop them down there. This is some loot. Alright, we got another chair out here. And why chairs? Because your ship is your home, right? And orange. So tiger chairs. Luckily that goes. I've had one actually bounce off and end up in the water, which kind of sucks. All right, we're gonna haul this over here because this becomes important here in a bit. All right, so it is getting to be light. That is actually going to be a thing. All right, so you see all the sweethearts. So bring out all this stuff. Okay, you're gonna come over here. Depending on how you time things, you might be able to get a couple of them at a time. Okay, that's all of them over here. Now you see we got two more octopi over there. You see one on the far side. And there's one more remaining that we cannot see at the moment, which is over there somewhere. All right. So we got some problems. So this is your source of power. Okay. So the idea here is that if you want to charge your batteries, you've got some electric cable already run down there. This is where you get that power from. So we're going to pull out our repair tool, which is number 5 in the case of the default here. You can see durability is 80%, which means this is only going to put out 80% of rated capacity. Okay. Okay, now the problem is, as you can see here, plastic, iron, silicon. Where the heck do I get silicon? And aluminum. This is durability 15. I think the others are similar. 20, a little better. Okay, plastic, silicon, right? Plastic. I told you we need a lot of plastic, silicon, and iron. We got iron. We got access to iron. Here's the same thing. Plastic, iron, silicon, aluminum. Right? Okay. Now, we're going to do a couple things over here. Because I cannot repair these others, we're just going to get this thing going. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is tab, build, right click, and build, right? Now, this is pure OCD here. I'm going to lay one of these down for every one of these. Okay, so that's here. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I need one of these over here. So I'm just going to put it down. And then we're going to do, sorry, that was not what I wanted to do. Try that again. Okay, loot. Okay, so I got these guys over here. They're fine right now. If you don't disturb them, they won't let the sweethearts out. So what we want to do is get this one in over here. I'm going to grab cable. I'm going to plug that into here. That will become important in a bit. I'm going to connect and connect. I'm going to take this and connect. Okay, so as you see here, this is now producing. I did fix this one, so that's 100%. It is now producing electricity and passing it down. Now, if you remember, we connected everything all the way down to that dual set of batteries where we powered the hangar. Okay, so all the way down that far. So this is energy, not a whole lot, but energy that is, we can actually see this. So right now it's outputting 4.8 kilowatts, which is, I think, its maximum. So got good sunlight. Right there is the sun. Okay, I was going to say something, but I won't for the moment. It will become more relevant as we go along. All right. Now, this is preemptive. So these are producing, as you see the little things going, these are producing a tiny bit of electricity. So if we look at this one, oh, well, if I got my repair thing out, you would see this. There's a certain percentage. So this one was 20%, this one was 15%. My guess is this one's probably pretty close to 15% as well, maybe 10. So they are producing that much. Not much, but that much. All right. As you can see, this one's in pretty good repair. This one's not so good. That one's not so good. All right, so let us do some things. Now remember, we need plastic. This is fabric, but let's carry this in anyway. All right, now, here's the thing to remember. This is the cool part, because you have worked your way up here. You have plugged in everything down to the batteries. So you actually are attached to batteries up here. So right now I have this. I'm going to do some housekeeping stuff just because, you know, OCD. So I'm going to do build, right click, and I don't have the materials, but that's okay. So I'm going to put one of these here and fabricate, which is an E. And that's going to stay red because I don't have the materials. And then I'm going to put another one over here. Now, why do I do that? This will all actually make sense. I'm going to go as close to that as I can. E to fabricate, then Q to quit. All right. Now, because this is plugged in here, we're going to turn this on. It's going to make a little bit of noise. Okay. Plastic and a couple other things. So you see I'm getting really close to zero, and I'm now burning my own stuff. Okay, so this is producing a tiny bit of power. I'm consuming a tiny bit of power, but you see this thing will really light up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for whatever reason it is, oh, because I messed up. Alright, so let me turn that off. 7%, 8%. Alright, I'm disconnecting. And we're going to run down to the batteries. So here's what I did when I was doing my tutorial of telling you about the batteries. Let me grab one of these just because. Oh, no, I'll scrap them up here. Alright. We're going to go all the way down. I could have just jumped off over there. Yes, yes indeed. But let's go all the way back down here. And remember, we got batteries here. And remember, I shifted this to input. So with this on input, it will not backfeed battery power upstairs. So that was my bust. Normally I leave this to equalize. That way it just moves power wherever it can. So we're going to do that. So F to shift power, F again to set to equalize mode. So this will allow this energy to flow in either direction. So that was my screw up. I don't normally do that, but it's all part of the learning process. So now I've just reinforced that by my own screw up, so you will not repeat my screw up. Thank you very much. All right, let's go back upstairs, because that's really where it's all happening. We need to get all of this stuff functional, because that is our power. That's our entire power. Okay, got to do this. Okay, we talked about glass, remember? Glass. Okay, I'm going to have to drop that. And let's demonstrate here how this should really work. You see all the flow coming from those couple panels and then going downstairs, which are ultimately charging the battery. But if I connect in here, you see it goes really, really bright, and it's now pulling power from the batteries, which, oops, I should have left that alone. If you're not connected up here, that doesn't matter. But because you're connected, then oops. Okay, so there is 100%. It goes back to what it was. So E to disconnect, Q to reel it in. All right. So we need plastic, we need iron, we need silicon, and can't remember what else we need there. I remember those three. All right, let's grab this guy, because this is glass. Remember glass. All right. Throw, pick up, throw. Battery over here. This is a medium battery, which is nice. All right. Metal. So this is iron. Right. So we definitely have all the iron we need. This is fabric. Iron. See what I mean by this? This gets really narrow, even though you think, hey, that's a pretty good. But nope, it's pretty narrow spot. So this is your world when you're just collecting everything. This is what you're doing. Again, everything is salvageable. Sometimes you can just hit a corner and oh, sorry, this was going into that. Oh, missed. Okay, now see, we talked about this interacting with the cables and stuff. All right, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, remember we can lift. It takes time. All right, so that is pretty much everything in this room. I'm gonna put this in because we will do some stuff. And so here's another neat thing. If you're holding a cable and you want to swap it, it actually gives you the option of switch cables, switch cables, which is an E in this case. Normally it will come up as A. Okay, so it turns off because I am holding the power, but we're going right here, which will turn everything back on. All right, and we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to connect, and then switch, and then connect. Right, okay, so what does this do for us? This gets that cable on the ground. So now, regardless of what you carry through here, it's on the ground, it's under you, right? Because you're carrying stuff. So you don't have to worry anymore about getting your cable tangled with whatever it is. All right, another crate. Let me demonstrate here just so you know. Metal scraps, plastic, okay? So remember, crates can give you plastic. That's the important thing. All right, so we're going to carry this guy over. We are now carrying it, so we're not interacting. As I speak. All right, so metal and plastic, 2 and 2. All right, now we got a lot of good stuff here. Here we go. Well, that was our level 3. All right, let's go back to tab. We're going to go through skills first. Skills. All right, and now you see this line has opened up. Now, what do we really need? So the basic thing, we absolutely need storage. Okay, so Durapack, that's our small storage container. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. You see a store tight. That's our next size container. So this will store 50 kilograms. That's it. 50 kilograms, right? So you need a bunch of these. This stores 100. So basically a slightly smaller sized container than 2 stores twice as much. Okay, so 100 kilograms in this, and then you have down here, oops, sorry, scroll back up. Oh, why is it doing that? Down here, not sure why it's doing that, but you see this thing, 4 to hold. Okay, so I don't know how much because I've never seen somebody build one of those, even in the early access release that they released to select people. So I've never seen one of those built, so I don't know how big it is. But I know this is 100 kilograms of storage. So 100 kilograms and 50 kilograms, which my guess is this is going to be 200, I would think. Okay, what else do we need? We need weapons. Always we need weapons. So do I really need that now? No, but I'm going to go ahead and do that one. The other thing, this is the little brother to the Cyclones. The Cyclones are the wind turbines that you see out there on the deck. So this is the little brother version of that one, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to OCD the ship. Here's some things just to think about in the future. Obviously we can't get here, so we are done with leveling up. So you see over here at the bottom, right corner here, you see max level reached. So this is the end of the demo. You cannot go higher. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You have reached the maximum levels possible within the demo. Okay, so you cannot get above level 3. So all this stuff that you see, so diesel generator, what does that really mean? No, it's not using diesel and generating power. It is literally generating diesel fuel. Okay, so this is something generates diesel, as in diesel fuel, from organic materials. So you remember, let's click on inventory here. We'll come back to enhancers. Bio, right? Okay, this converts into diesel or converts into petrol, right? So you need biomaterial, and then you can ultimately refill your ship. So, all right. Yeah, let me do that. So this is one of the kind of interesting bugs of the game, is even though these batteries are the same, they're not the same, right? So if we do a stack, not stacking, but either way, we'll put those here. All right, 10 kgs, so this is taking up valuable storage space. All right, let's do another learning lesson. So I have a bunch of scraps in my inventory. So interact, E. Now, there's some neat buttons down here. Deposit all, take all, and there's sometimes a deposit all if you're doing a container. So deposit all trash. Now, what does trash mean? That's all the scraps. So it will take all the scraps out of your inventory, leave everything else as it is. So take the scraps and throw it into the recycler. Boop. Right? So you see it all. And this will give us a healthy spattering. Now, we have glass, we have rubber, we have iron, so we got iron covered, and we have plastics. So we have 11 plastics, which may or may not be enough to do all of our repairs out there, but you see here we have plastics. Oh, sorry, plastic. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it did them already. Yeah, I see a bunch. So rubber scraps, but rubber and plastic, right? It's possible. So, oops. But the plastic is because rubber and plastics look the same. They have the same icon. But either way, we're gonna take all this stuff now. We are missing silicon. So silicon may be a thing. All right, tab. Okay, silicon. Right, I've got 2 silicon. That probably is not going to be enough when we get over to the turbines. So we gotta do some more. All right, plastic. All the plastic in. So as a guess, where are we going to find silicon? Well, what are computer integrated circuits made out of? Of course, silicon. So we need computers or robots. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave, we're going to go ahead and turn this off for a moment. Now we have glass up here by way of the sweethearts. We do have quite a few sweethearts. So here's what I'm going to do. I have my grinders. So even though I have a finite amount of power, we're going to go ahead and do those just so we have those glass scraps here. And do that, sweetheart. Alright, and then just because I can, we'll go leap off here. Another sweetheart. We're going to go in here just because we do actually need to heal. Get down upstairs, and we're here, so we're going to go ahead and do a backup, just because. Backup slot 1, and yes. Alright, and we could go down the stairs, but I'm going to just go the ladder because... And one of the things I want you to notice, I was holding my scrapping tool, and I get off the ladder, and we have the scrapping tool. Alright, so we're going to grab, see over here, tech scraps, 9 times out of 10 reduce down to silicon. Okay, so plastic. Robot. Now if I were being really smart, I would just haul these through the doors. Alright. That means, so I'm at 95%. That's our warning. Here's a computer over here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, even though it says 15. I'm all good to go there. Now, remember, there's a battery in here. The door now is powered, so I'm going to open the door. So, first thing I'm going to do is charge myself up, and then we are going to power the recycler, because there's actually a whole lot of stuff here. So let me do 7 to turn that off. There's a whole lot of stuff here, and so we threw all those robots and all the computers onto the big elevator. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing over here just because it's painful to actually I'll demonstrate something else if I can make it do this. So this is not arbitrary. I want the cable out of my way. So I'm going to go over here. Let's go to right here. Now, one of the things I want you to see, there's 3 options on the screen. Connect to me, connect self, drop and reel it in, or fabricate cable extender. So the devs gave you a way that you can place the cable extenders conveniently, right? So I don't have to select the menu, build, right click, and do it. All I do is left click and it shows me. So I can put this right up against there, and of course if it's red you cannot build there for whatever reason, and in this case it's just too close because the devs were smart enough to realize, okay, if I put that connector up there I can't do anything with it. Whereas if it's green, I can connect onto that. Now I don't need to because I'm only going 3 ways. Okay, fabricate. I always do the left click, which is actually rotate in this case. I really don't like that because I just think, okay, I put it on the ground, click, and that's not what the click does. Okay, so fabricate, E. All right. And in this case, I'm going to do a Q because I'm just going to turn that off. I'm going to do an E to connect, and then I'm going to do E to connect on this side, which is going to go to this one, and then E to connect on this side and go to this one, which is connected. And then I'm going to turn this guy on. All right, because it's convenient. Okay, now sound annoyance, but lights are a thing, which means I can turn off my torch. Okay, let's start scrapping. Boink. Oh, really sensitive. I need to adjust my mouse. Give me half a second. Options, mouse, and we're going to adjust this back to about 70%, and I'm not sure exactly what the ADS sensitivity, but I'm going to do that one too. Okay, and then G to apply, or click on apply and then escape and back to the game. Sorry about that, I should have done that in advance, but when the mouse is moving too much, it makes it a little awkward, probably just making you guys dizzy. So, sorry about that. Okay, we got another memory. Here's the other kind of bear, the teddy bear. So we're going to do that. These are the other 2 orange chairs. So tiger because. So, all right. So computer stuff. We got a couple monitors here. Why am I doing all this? Because I need the tech scraps, which really is to say I need silicon. See, silicon just fell out there. Fabric. Tires is, of course, rubber and plastic. You can recycle the fenders as well, and it is a tire, so you get the same stuff. Alright, this is my plastic and metal. I showed you that before. Alright. Let's grab stuff. Yeah, that's high. do that again if I tried. All right, displays. So you get, I think, one type of thing out of this. There's 4 more displays outside. So, all right, let me do another thing here because, yeah, it won't really matter here. So never mind. What I was going to do is build another one of these things just to prevent myself from interacting there, but it doesn't matter. All right, so I want these tables because these are these diamond plate tables, and I want the chairs. So I will eventually get these. All right, so we are pretty much done with our recycle. Oh, missed these. All right. Scrap it all. Of course. I have to turn it sideways and then. Alright. Okay, so that is everything in this room that I would want to scrap. Now I can carry all this stuff in, but I'm looking for very specific stuff, and I know that there are displays. Now, this becomes a time equation. Is it more efficient to scrap them or to carry them to the recycling? Oh, I guess this does not have X stuff. Okay, so I did drop the 2 robots in the water over here, which kind of sucks because they have sunk to the bottom. That is a thing. So you can go and get them, but it's a bit awkward. All right, so let me do that. We're going to do one more thing over here because this guy. So I'm going to go over here and then go here. Alright, a little bit critical of me there. Okay, we got a lot of stuff. We see our silicon over here is the white. So let's go ahead, and that was a hold J. Alright, now it's in. Alright, now I'm over encumbered. For power, and when we go upstairs we're going to do the healing thing, and we're going to go ahead and save while we're up there. So when you are over encumbered, now this may be a bug, but you notice it says 100%. If I go into, I think I can do that, yeah, so okay, if we go over to the bottom right, you'll see extra weight, and I'm at 153.6 of 100 kilograms, meaning I am at 153%. So not a good thing necessarily, but I can function. Now here's the downside. That's burning a lot of extra electricity. So that's the downside. All right, and we are slow. So that's another downside. So we're going to do a couple things because we can. Okay, let me demonstrate another thing because it'll actually make this easier. Oh, enhancer. So let's do that real quick. So I know I can pick up the crates, so I don't need to do improved hydraulics. So what I'm going to do is 5 and 5. So we'll do 5 here, and then we'll do 5 on battery. Right. So that'll give me a little better when it comes to scrapping and a little better performance when it comes to my battery. So I basically added 100 watt hours So now I'm at 600 watt hours instead of my original 500. Okay, build. What do I want to build? I'm going to go ahead and build a Durapack. Now, this kind of happens in two phases. Now, build ultimately is build, but if you build some things, you ultimately have to build in a fabricator, like your engine booster module. So that is a item in your fabricator. So you can't just put that on the ground. In this case, watch what happens. It was just like our cable extenders. Okay, so they turn green. You basically build them on the ground. So E for fabricate, Q to get rid of that. But it's red, right? So it will not build. It needs 2 alloy frames and 1 display screen. So we go back into our build menu, build, and our fabricator works exactly the same way. The only difference is it does it a lot faster, right? Okay, so we go back down here. You see the little green 1, meaning I have 1 pending, okay? So it's waiting on something. It is not built. It is somewhere, but it's not built. So right click, and we've got 2 options. I do not have any parts in inventory, so it wouldn't really matter if I did all parts or missing parts, but if you have particular parts, you can do missing parts as well, and it will not recreate parts that you already have. Whereas if you add all parts, it will take the parts needed, put them in the queue, right? So you may have extras. Now, just for sake of seeing, I'm going to go ahead and click on all parts, and it's going to add them to the queue because I'm building really, really slowly. So you can also see in the parts list what I need is in blue. Oh, sorry, what I need is in yellow, and what I have not yet built is in blue, right? So the blue went away here. Now it'll go to this. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and then the blue will disappear, but it says 1 and 2. Now, one of the things you notice, so I have those in my inventory if I am in a certain proximity, and this is true of the fabricator as well. If certain items are within proximity of the fabricator, I don't know how many meters that actually is. I'm sure Google is my friend there, but that has, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So I have not studied that particular aspect yet. But you see it go from red, I have all the parts in my inventory or available, and it will go blue, and then it just magically sucks them in, and then builds. So in this case, E for open. Now I'm going to put things that I have an abundance of that I know I will not need. I do not need gold upstairs. I do not need polyurethane upstairs. I do need aluminum. I have 7, so that's a little limiting. I need silicon. I know that. I don't know how many. 13 may be enough. We have plastics over here. I have 47 iron. I know I don't need that much. I don't necessarily need rubber, glass, or copper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my iron and put half of it there. I'm also going to get all of these little guys and just pitch them out. Even though the batteries are there, the batteries weigh things. This is 2 kilograms, which I'm going to put there. This is 10 kilograms, so I'm going to throw that up there. And then we're going to go back to the recycler and throw all this stuff in. Okay, glow sticks, we'll go ahead and put that up, and we got a teddy bear. So let's get all of those. So this is just my active inventory, and I don't remember glass. May need it, but I don't remember glass specifically, but we'll carry that up there. I don't remember fabric either. I do remember, I thought it was copper, iron, plastic, and silicon, if I remember, or aluminum. So we had aluminum, silicon, probably iron and copper, iron and glass. Anyway, I think we got all that covered. I think. So in this case, escape to get out of that. We'll leave that here. So here's the thing to remember about these: if you grind them down, you lose I think you get your display back. Otherwise, you don't get to keep that. So don't just grind these down arbitrarily. Here's the good news. Point your reticle at it. You see I've got the grappling hook. I can actually pick these up. They can be full. It doesn't matter. Throw them on your ship, right? Because ultimately that's where they're going anyway. Okay, so you notice I am still flashing because I'm over 100%. Tab to get to inventory. You can see I am at 104 kilograms of 100. So I think it's like 110 or 115 when you actually slow down to the point you can't do anything. All right, let's throw these in. Interact. Remember, deposit all trash. Just makes that easy. Otherwise, you can Q. So Q will move it to the alternate inventory in either direction. Plastic, I see some copper, a lot of glass. There's gold, there is silicon. I have silicon there, 5 of 18 that I have in my inventory. Now I'm at 97% of weight, so it's not good, but I can at least walk upstairs at a reasonably speedy pace. Now this is an electric door. We can open the door. We could, in fact, see it's got a handle on this side, so I could have opened it manually from the other side, but the idea is that, you got to be on this side. All right, so we can see we're actually charging really well. The problem is we got 2 batteries here, and we're using a certain portion of it to do what we do. All right, so let's go back upstairs. We'll finish, get 100% power up there. I have found you don't really need to build any more power stuff. All right. Sorry, I was trying to decide whether I wanted to carry these up or go ahead. And I forgot to do exactly what I said we were going to do. So I'm going to go do that because otherwise I'll get myself in trouble. Which is to say heal and save. And while I'm here, I've got a free power port, so let's go ahead and power up. Never hurts to power, never hurts to heal. Especially when you're doing a lot of dismantling, you use power. When you're doing repairing, you use power. So it's kind of one of those things you don't necessarily think about until it's like, oh crap. Alright, so we'll do the heal. Back up slot 1. Yes. Tiny pause there as it's saving. This particular computer, it's not new. It was a high-end i7 at the time, but it actually the game is stored on an actual hard drive. The main drive in this one is SSD, but the game drive is not. It is an actual hard drive. So you see those little pauses every once in a while. Okay. So we are back up here. We're gonna go just right straight over. We'll do the solar panels first, then we'll kill those guys. Oh, I need to show you the pistol. I didn't create the pistol, but we'll do that. All right. So 5, which is my repair tool. You see, we have everything we need actually in abundance right now, which is a good thing. So we'll end up over on the wind turbines and be in good shape. All right. So here's the storm. So that I was telling you earlier about solar being a little problematic because you have storms, you just have rain, you have fog, you have all these things that render a lot of your solar power to be limited. Thankfully, we still have aluminum, so I think we're going to be okay. All right, so we are at 100% on our solar, and you can see we now are outputting quite a bit. Okay? So the bigger and brighter the white lines are, you know, the more energy is coming through. All right, we'll go over here and, okay, just because I want to demonstrate it, we're going to go over and actually use the fabricator. So I have a lot of stuff in my inventory already, and you'll see how much faster the fabricator is. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to scroll down, and this should look really familiar, right? So this was the same thing that you saw in the build menu under tab, which is U. In this case, E will get you into the display, which brings this up. I'm going to scroll down here to electric pistol. We're going to do two things: right click and all parts. Okay, we'll put those in the queue and it will start on those. It does that pretty fast. Sorry about the noise because it's loud. And then we're going to do build. Now this you cannot set on the ground, so it has to build in inventory, and so it's an actual line item in your queue. And then I'll show you some tricks on how to make this work. There's two ways: you charge it and then you let it do what it does. You can also interconnect it to yourself and use your battery to charge it with those. So we're going to demonstrate both of those just so you can be reasonably familiar with it. Okay, we're going to turn this off just because I don't want it burning power, and here is your new weapon. All right, oh, sorry. Okay, tab, it is in your inventory, right? So you're going to drag it down onto your holster section, and it's already highlighted so you know where it goes. This is a pistol, so all pistols go there, all rifles go here, and all grenades go there. So this goes into your pistol. Now, here's the problem. You notice this little bar on the bottom? It's at 0, meaning this does not have a charge, meaning if you pull it out and aim it, you're going to be really, really frustrated and probably really, really dead shortly thereafter. So you got to charge this. It's electric after all. All right, so I had a beep. I'm not sure what the beep was. I think it was telling me I am now underweight, which was good. So interact, I have a couple things. Now, what I said here is if you're exchanging inventory items, so stacks, then you can do a couple things. Right click, you can split or deposit, right? So if you deposit, it's going to take the whole thing. If you split, it's going to split. It's going to split it 50-50. So that's what that is. So right click, or you press Q, and it's not on the screen anywhere, but if you press Q, it will simply take that entire stack, move it to the other inventory, which in this case it says container, but it's actually the recycler. Okay, so Q and Q puts those in there. And stuff, not a whole lot of stuff there, but okay. We're going to shut that back off because I don't want to, be wasting power just for the sake of wasting power. I want everything we got to go downstairs. Now, right now, it's pretty much dark, so we are not producing anything. So moonlight does not produce anything. Okay, so I already put this guy down, which is our 3 cyclones, and, oh, let me demonstrate. I was going to demonstrate, so let me do that. All right, so remember self, remember pistol. Okay, so we have the option to connect, which is going to just grab cable, right? So E to connect. Now, you see some options here, and you get a third option that you did not have before. So we saw the fabricator, we saw the fabricate cable extender, excuse me. We saw the connect self, and we saw the drop and reel in. Okay, In this case, because now we have an electric pistol in our inventory, we now have the third option of F, Foxtrot there, to connect to the pistol. That's what we're going to do. So F will connect to the pistol. You see we're taking a lot of energy, and now you can see on the bar on the left lower side of the corner of the screen there, you see the pistol now is charging. And once we get that to 100%, then we will do F again, which takes the cable off the pistol. And now we have the option of do whatever we're going to do. In this case, Q, which will reel that cable back in. All right, if we're not facing something else electrical. So if we just pull this out using a number 2, you see kind of, now you can, that's a left click, which brings it right straight in front. There are sights, there are laser sights, so you've got a lot of options. What I don't know, there's a way to turn this sideways. G. G is inspect. So you see some options here. You can use that rail, and there is an arrow in and an arrow back. Don't know what those are yet, but you also see the electrical connector on the bottom there, where you would normally see a magazine. So remember what all these things are. So G to inspect, you can actually see some of the options that you can add. Now, this is the demo. Those options are not available, but eventually you'll have some things that are available. All right, so we're a little low on power here, so we probably G to turn that one off, 2 to take that one off. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and put power to me, so that's an E and an E. We're drawing from batteries downstairs. All right. I'm going to grab the cable. Now I'm holding the cable, right? So the cable is connected to me, and you see that F, connect electric pistol. Now, if I do E, I just reel it in. If I do Q, I drop and reel it in. So they're kind of the same in this case. If I go F, I'm going to connect me onto my pistol. What does that mean? That means I'm drawing energy out of my battery into the pistol. So we're going to do that. Okay, so the pistol in this case is charging from my battery. So take this out. Now watch. So you see the 100 there on the display on the weapon. Okay, here we go. Now you see how it's charging immediately? That's because it's connected. See? Cable. Right? Connected to me. So that's kind of one of those convenient things. Now, you remember those batteries that we picked up and put onto the ship? You can connect this guy onto a battery, then carry the battery, walk over to whatever you need to nuke, and you drop the battery, pull out your pistol, already connected, and shoot away. Okay. The nice thing is that those are 500 watt-hour batteries. Small battery, but 500 watt-hours, which means it's the equivalent of you. So, anyway, over here, kill this guy. Cool. Okay. And down to 76%. Recharging. We're just going to go over and do this one. We're going to All right, there's one more that we can address, which I believe is over here. Flags are animated. So if you ever are interested in understanding where the wind is, which comes in handy in terms of these guys, so you see how slow these are moving, right? So flag's not moving, which means there is very little wind. All right, so if we look over here, there's a guy. Now, does it really matter? No, not really. There's a reason I want to deal with this guy. Because there's a thing. There's a thing. Okay, so we're going to let this recharge. So that's at 100%. To put it away, we have grab cable off of the pistol, which is F. Going to do that, and then we're going to E to reel it in. Okay, so now I am no longer connected to my pistol, but my pistol's charged. So my pistol's ready to go. All right, 5, which will bring out my repair tool, and we have everything we need here. We're doing really good with silicon. Don't need a whole lot of silicon. You can see we don't need very many items for these guys, so thankfully, yeah. So iron is our biggest one. We're out of iron now. All right, so iron. So we need 2 more iron, which isn't a problem because we have a boatload of iron. So 5 to turn that off. This is a cone. The cone of shame. Depending on whether... Okay, so here's an interesting thing. I tried this with the robot earlier and it didn't work like I wanted it to. But if you get close over here, you notice toggle switch will come up so you can actually hold something. So this is left click is holding the cone, but I do now have the option to do E to turn the toggle on while I'm holding the cone. So throw. So I need iron. I think that's the closest iron. Well, let's do these. Actually, we'll cheat a little. 7 to get out. Dismantler. Not ideal because we don't have many. 53% per. Okay, so there is steel and 7 to put that away, and we're going to grab that. And we're going to run into here. And then we're going to go over here and connect, right? Remember we said how that was red and then we turned it green, so it turned green at the minimal distance away from the machine that you could connect. So that's what that was all about. We'll eventually do the grab cable thing here. Here we are. Again, to do that now we have 1 iron. We need 2 iron if you recall. Oh. So interact. So we have 1 iron, which was the one we just picked up. We have plastic scraps, we have copper scraps, and we have metal scraps, which turns into iron and copper. Okay. Here again, we have plastic and copper. Glass can be glass, right? Okay, so deposit all trash is an F. We need iron, unfortunately. But iron is pretty abundant. So here's a 5. So we know we already have that. There's another iron. There's glass, copper, and plastic. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. Now we can repair that last one. Which is really what we want to do. We'll zoom over here, repair this last one. So 5, get this out, repair, that's at 75% anyway. I think I already did this one, yeah. So when it comes up with the item identifier but no ability to repair, you know you're at 100%. Okay, so 5 to put that away. We're going to, unfortunately they put all of these on this side. I don't know why they did that. So connect, we're going to go ahead and connect here. We're going to connect that one here. And we're going to connect this one here. I don't know when I'm going to... I'm out of cable. No more cables left. Okay, so drop and wheel it in. Tab. Now, cable. If I click on cable, oh, it doesn't tell me there, so let's go to our build menu. Now, keep in mind, this is really super slow. Build 5. Now, 25 actual cables. What does that mean? So every cable that you make is 5 meters, if I understood everything right. So by doing 5, you're actually building 25 cables. Because the lowest common denominator, so the lowest amount you can put out is 1 meter. So if you're closer than 1 meter to something, that's what you got. So it just leaves it kind of in a little wad there. Otherwise, it stretches out, and so it's always trying to conserve as much as it can. Okay, so we built 25 meters worth of stuff, which isn't enough to really do anything extravagant. But now we've got all 3 of these guys. Now we're in a windstorm, so you can see these are really rolling. So we'll run over here and connect to here and watch the cables. You see how this one went up significantly? So now all this energy is going downstairs to the batteries. All right. So this was the intention here. I am right about an hour. So what we're going to do is, now that we're done here, I am going to head to the door, and we're going to head back downstairs. So I think I turned those off, but all right. Once I get down to the batteries there, because there's stuff that I want to do there, but we'll start that in the next episode. So the idea is that we have now repaired everything to 100% upstairs, which is our main source of power. So what you see here, this is a good thing. We are now charging these batteries. So we are using far less energy, which you can see by the small, not very intense lights. Blue light going down the electrical cable there, whereas the ones there to the left are very bright and they're a lot wider. So you can, that's kind of your measure of, I suppose you could call that current or amperage, how much is actually coming down here. So in this case, you see it is charging both of those batteries very nicely, and we're not pulling out a whole lot of energy to go to, in this case, the facility or the hangar here. So that is where we'll stop, but now we have everything repaired up there. We have the maximum amount of electricity that we can bring down. It is optimal because we have solar and wind during the day, and at night when our solar drops off, we still have a lot of wind power. So, and especially in a storm when those turbines really spin up nicely. So they really do produce a lot. All right, so that's why we'll stop here. This is Kenny Tiger signing off, and we'll catch you next time.